How you doing, folks? Well, you're joining me in the back of the camper van today, and the reason being is because I have a bit of a job to do. My wife and I have an 11-month-old baby at the time of filming, and at the moment the van only has lap belts in the back. Now, in order for us to have the little man safe when we're going on a trip, we want to put a 3-point seat belt in on the passenger side, which is this side over here. So I bought a kit from Brickwerks. And what we're going to do is talk about putting that in today. So there's the lap belt as it stands, okay? And what we need to do is we need to find the mounting points for the 3-point seat belt. Now, unfortunately, because this is a transporter and not a caravel, it doesn't actually have the pre-drilled holes and the retainers for the seatbelt, so that means that we have to put the parts in for that. Now I'm going to show you what we actually get in the kit. So, lay them out here. So there's the seatbelt is in the bag here itself, okay? So you've and there's some German on it, and then there's this plate here, and this plate here. So obviously they are plates that need to be riveted onto the inside of the van, and they have the captive nut on them to bolt the seatbelt to. So we're going to be using them, and then we're going to be using this as well. So let's take everything out of the bag and see what we're looking at. Okay, so here's what we have now. So there's the two plates I showed you already, and there's some fastening bolts with spacers, the little plastic cover that goes over the this part here on the belt, and then this is the reel here with the mounting bracket on it, okay? And then that goes off down to another fixing point here. Now, it is very, very important that you don't let the reel go straight back into it, and because what'll happen is you'll jam the reel and you won't be able to open it again. So there's an elastic band around it to prevent that from happening, so we're going to leave that elastic band around it for the moment, okay? And we can take that off at a later stage. I might even put a cable tie around it or some tape or something just to keep it more secure. But yeah, so what I need to do is I need to have a look at it. I should have gotten some templates with this as well too, so what I want to do is have a look at those templates and see if we can figure everything out. Okay, so here's the template that came from Brickwerks, and basically that just allows us to line up one of the particular plates. But what we're going to do is come back to that anyway in a minute, because the instructions for this installation are actually on they're on Brickwerks website, so I'm going to actually have a look at that. But in the meantime, it also came with this, which is in German. Now, I've actually run it through Google Translate on the phone, okay? So what it says is, please note, the webbing should not be rolled up further, otherwise it may happen that the tape is on the belt reel jammed. Obviously I'm reading exactly what it says. Every belt is so worn with us and with that rubber ring block so that it is smooth and not stuck. If this should happen, please put the belt together, set the mechanics straight, the belt roll between, take your thumb and index finger, then the belt all the way little with gentle pressure between the fingers and move around. Usually you solve them. Jam as soon as the lock is released and you can push the belt out of the retractor. One hand should pull the webbing lightly while waving, the other moves strong. You can't beat the direct translation. When installed, it cannot happen that the belt is stuck, then it's through the installation, position of belt reel and deflection already webbing. Yeah, basically. Right, so that basically is just saying don't let the thing roll up any further, like what I was saying. But if it does happen, there's a procedure you can follow, and you'll have to make a bit more sense of that. Anyway, you can download the Google Translate app, point it at that sheet, and it'll give you a good translation of it. Well, not a good translation, but a translation. Anyway, right, so moving swiftly on from that point, let's have a look at where the belt goes. I'm going to actually have a look at the instructions on the Brickwerks website. Okay, so I went on to Brickwerks website. If you just search on Google Brickwerks rear seat belt, all the information you need actually just comes up. Just Google that, and it brings you to this website. But what we'll do is just have a quick scan through. Now, that little blanking plug that's on a caravel is not on this van. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have to drill holes. So you see there, that's if you actually look there, there's a little dimple there and a dimple there. Now that should be on this van, but that plug won't be, unfortunately. And what we need to do is we need to make that hole, and we need to put the doubler plate behind that. Yeah. Right, there's quite a bit to do here, and then that's obviously where the lower seat belt mount goes as well too. Then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a read through this myself, and I'm going to bring it back in once I have a kind of a handle on it myself, because there's obviously a lot to think about here, and I do not want to rush this job. Okay, so obviously I've had to, we're at the back window here, I've had to pull back some of the carpet here just to access where the recess is. There's actually a swage in the panel around there, and what happens is this template here lines up with the swage and gives us our drilling points. So we have to get a bit of blue peter on this and just cut it out and stick it into place. So just make sure you get an adult supervision when using the scissors, folks, okay? I don't want to see any cut fingers or anything like that. Okay, so the template's cut out there now anyway, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it on here and just use a bit of masking tape. It seems to be the case that I'm actually missing one of the doubler plates, one that goes in behind here. I don't know why, to be honest with you. In amongst the chaos that ensued in my garage while I was doing the engine swap, it may have gone missing. But anyway, not to worry. Look, we can. This is only a single hole, and it's quite easily accessible from the back. So what I'll do is I will. Let's get this done first of all. Right, so that's in place now, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a step drill. Okay, so it goes up to between 16 and 18, of course I need a 17mm hole, but we'll go up to 16 anyway. And it's important as well too to make sure that you don't go too far and end up pushing out through the panel on the other side, because then you're making a hole on the outside of the van, which I don't think anybody would want, in fairness. So accuracy is not playing a huge part of this game, to be honest with you. Take our template away now anyway. I haven't actually gone up to the 16 yet, but we're well on our way. So what is that? That is 12. So we need another 2 steps. Okay. Good job. Right, so now we have our hole. So that's spot on. And to be honest with you, if it's a couple of mil either side, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference in this instance, because to be honest with you, I mean, all it's going to affect is where the shoulder strap is a couple of mil either direction, if you know what I mean. So we'll manage with that. Now, what we need to do next is we need to remove the vent on the outside in order to get access. So that's this lad here. Okay, so the 2 screws there and there. You take them out, and just a couple of spuds to go up inside there to just keep that in place, and then you just pull that out, pull it down, and away you go. So I'll get that off and we'll have a look then. Okay, so I'm just looking in here at where the vent would be, and there's a little dimple there, right? And you can see the hole which I hand-fisted out of the van down there, and did a lovely job of. But we need to drill out that little dimple as well, because what happens is this is actually the right bracket here. Okay, so you put a pop rivet through this hole, the small little hole, and that keeps it in place, and then the larger hole. Obviously, you know, I think you can figure that bit out. If you can't figure that bit out, don't be doing this job. Yeah, so let's see if we can feel that and get a hole drilled there. Right, so to be honest with you, I think the easiest thing to do is, because of the fact that we have that hole there already, and that's the larger of the 2 holes, I'm going to actually line that up there, right? So that'll go inside in the vent, and then that is where our small hole goes. Okay. Now, next thing is to put this in. So what we need to do is we need to get a suitable size pop rivet, which I'll go through the bodywork here and hold this in place, and then we can then we'll have something to bolt our shoulder strap to. And then what we'll do is we'll take this this lower panel off and we'll start having a look at where the actual buckle goes, or not the buckle, the reel, which is going to be the tricky bit, I think. But look at with your help, I'm sure I'll figure it out. Okay, so pop rivet going. Stick the pop rivet in here. That'll go in through there, and we put a double plate on the other side. Okay, so the double plate is actually in position now, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually rivet it. Alright, now get a better grip of the rivet going. There we go. Now, that, as the man says, is going nowhere. So, to be honest with you, we'll be all right with that. So that's now a threaded hole for a seatbelt to go into. So I'm quite happy with that. Is it the neatest job in the world? No, but it'll work. We'll be okay. Have faith in me, folks, because I don't. Okay, so the next task I need to do is I need to remove this side panel here, and unfortunately I think the person who put the carpet on after he put the screws in to hold on the side panel, which is kind of annoying, to tell you the truth. So I can't find where the screws are. So what I need to do is I need to peel this carpet back. It's always when you start going at a job like this, you start finding stuff you really don't want to be finding. Look at that. That's not just rust, that's rot. Now what I'm going to do for the moment is I'm going to just paint that with some rust converter after I've got this job done. But bloody hell though. You know, I mean... it'll get you down, to be honest with you. That's what annoys me about these type of jobs. You just don't know what you're going to get yourself into. Okay, so here's what we're looking at here now. So there's holes down there. Luckily enough, that rot doesn't seem to be going too much further than there, but still and all, I'd rather not see it at all. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spray all in there with wax oil. I have some wax oil in a can as well too, which should keep things at bay a little bit longer, and I'll put some rust converter on that. Who knows, maybe I just got to the bottom of something I didn't want to find just at the right time, although that's quite crispy there. Anyway, look, let's not get too bogged down in that. Yeah, so you can kind of see there's holes down there at the bottom of that panel, just those ones there I'm looking at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the instructions there and see if it says that that's where the seatbelt reel actually goes. I can't see where else it would go, to be honest with you, because the shoulder loop is up there, so it has to kind of go at a back angle and then down towards the seat. Now the seat is folded down; it's in a bed form now, because I needed to do that to get access. I'm kind of sitting on the bed at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, look at there. So if we can get 2 points of the seatbelt actually connected up today, I'll be a happy man, to tell you the truth. Okay, so here's the seatbelt buckle with the double plate on the back of it already, and that basically has to just go in behind there, and it's a little bit easier said than done now, to tell you the truth, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm wondering, are the holes even actually, are they actually the holes that we need? I think they are. I did actually spray in there with wax oil while you guys were having a cup of coffee or whatever it is you do in these times. Oh wait, it's not how video editing works, is it? Alright, so yes, there's one in. Okay, that's number 2 in. Number 3 last. And then what we need to do is we need to actually cut a hole in our wooden panel for the seatbelt to come through. Now, there we go. Right, so that's the belt, that's the reel in. And then you have our shoulder strap here, and I'll bring you over here. Of course, as per usual, my style is that this is descended into chaos now. And anyway, look, what we need to do, luckily enough, it came with this this little finishing plate which goes around the hole I have to cut. So that at least is something nice. So yeah, we'll get that in next. I'll cut the hole, and we'll pass the belt through. So I suppose it needs to be, let's see. Okay, there we go. So that's the through the miracle of editing. There's the rectangular hole for the seatbelt. I'm not much on woodworking, to tell you the truth, as you probably noticed. Some of you are probably saying, oh, you're not much on metalwork either, for that matter. But no, I think I'll get by on that one. So right, so that'll actually go in like that. Anyway, look, we don't need to put it in yet because obviously, as I said, we have to put the carpet in next. So what we'll do now is we'll pull the seatbelt out, and then that can go on there. So I'm going to just put it in loosely because we will want to obviously put the seatbelt through the hole in the carpet, but what I want to do is I want to just see what way it attaches at the front end, because that's the bit that has me puzzled. Well, what an absolute unmitigated nightmare that actually turned out to be. I was hoping it was going to be one of those nice handy little jobs that I could have done over the space of 2 hours or whatever. It wasn't. And the simple reason it wasn't was because of the fact that this behind me is a transporter, not a caravel. If it was a caravel, it would have had all the seatbelt mounting points in it. It would have been just a case of bolting the seatbelt in, and job would have been done. But it didn't. So what I ended up doing is I ended up reusing some of the mounting points from the lap belts that were already in it. So they actually went in over the gearbox, and the bolts were oddball size. I needed an 18mm deep socket, which I didn't have, so I ended up using an 11/16 spanner instead to get one of the nuts off, which was almost completely rounded off even before I ever got to it. And then I had to use I had to make new doubler plates up as well too, to put to bolt the seatbelts into, which I'm now going to show you. So if you come over here for a second now, first of all you'll see that the baby seat is installed and is secure and safe, and that was really the object of the job here. And if you don't know how to install a baby seat, you need to learn, okay? And that's the fact of the matter, okay? First of all, that's installed correctly, okay? So we've the loop back of the seat belt going around here, and it's clipped in down there, and we're all good. Obviously the child isn't in it at the moment. Yeah, so basically the way it would originally have been in the caravel would have been there would have been a mount down here for the end of the seatbelt part that's on the reel, and I would have been able to bolt in down there, but there wasn't that in this particular van. So what I ended up doing was using a different point, and I'm going to show you that now by taking out the cushion. And I also ended up, one of the doubler plates that was supplied to me, I actually ended up cutting it in half, so I had two separate mounting points, and I'll show you them now too. So so let's look under the seat first of all. Right, so now that I've taken up the bottom cushion, which will go here, you can see this is the back cushion, and the way the bed basically works is it's kind of folded up in an A shape, if you know what I mean here. But what I can do is I can actually lift up in here and show you. I'll just prop it up with this mini sweeping brush, which does the job perfectly, and you can actually have a look here, and there's one of the mounts there bolted into the correct doubler plate. You'll see the pop rivet there, and there's the other mount there. Now instead of using a doubler plate, the pop rivet in this instance, what I used is a bolt with a washer. It was just more convenient, but really all the only purpose of those bolts is just to keep the doubler plate in place if you were to unbolt the seatbelt, so it doesn't fall off underneath the van. Yeah, so as I said, mounting points were already there. The doubler plate that was that originally I got had two bolt holes, and two captive nuts in it, and it would have gone there and there basically, so you could have installed 2 of these, but I actually split it in half, used one half for this side and one half for this side. And if you look underneath where the gearbox is, I have to close over the sliding door. You can see there's one of them there, and I did actually wax oil in there in the process, and you can just about see the other one in hiding in there. That's her there, and yeah, the bolt was in safety. I mean, it's tight enough, and yeah, so those mounting points are absolutely fine, and I think they're safe enough. So what I did do is I wax oiled everything before I put the doubler plates on as well, up in the air vent at the back. I put some wax oil there, so as not to allow any corrosion to set in. And yeah, it's a neat job now. I mean, but it's getting the old lap belt out was actually one of the trickiest parts, because the bolts were rusted in. And as I said, because they were oddball sizes, I didn't have my pick of every tool I would have liked. An 18mm deep socket would have been especially a 6-point 18mm deep socket would have been perfect for the job, but I just didn't have one. So in the end, the 11/16 spanner did the job, so I got that out. But anyway, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be using this video as a kind of a how-to on how to install the Brickwerks rear seatbelt kit. I think there's people out there who would do a better job than me on this, but if you have a transporter and you know, you need to install the seatbelt, you're gonna, you know, you'll get reasonably close to the mark with this method. Again, it depends as well too on the type of seat you have. One of my concerns as well too was whether the seatbelt was going to be long enough to go around a baby seat, because obviously you need quite a long seatbelt to go around a baby seat. It does go around it, it's just at its limit by the time it's around the seatbelt, but that's alright, it's still in, so it's not going anywhere. It means the little man will be nice and safe and secure in the back of the van when we're going travelling, and that's the important thing in this instance, and that is obviously the reason why I wanted to put the 3-point seatbelt in. Now obviously if I was travelling on my own with just him, you know, because there's no airbags in the front of this van, you could theoretically put him in the front. I personally think that still having him in the back is safer. So just make sure that, you know, the seat, the baby car seat is always facing back. To be honest with you, you know, as I said, there's an awful lot of people out there who don't know how to install a baby seat into a car, and it's crazy. You know, you just have to do it right, and there's no two ways about it. So now that we have our 3-point seatbelt installed in the van, we now know that everything is safe and secure, and yeah. So look, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.